Hey, so quarantining made me watch TikTok more than I'm proud to confess, but other people started binging TikTok too, so I'm not ashamed. Honestly, I would binge TikTok anyways. And that's where I get the idea for this video. Furthermore, I really went into gardening mode, but you weren't able to see that because I didn't put it on the internet, so you will have to trust me on that. Well, actually, I put some of it on my Instagram account, so you can only blame yourselves if you missed it. So gardening was a really hot topic for a quick sec. It was like reviewing the new live-action Mulan, but with less content. People with no interest in gardening were able to do other things, other hobbies like yoga or cooking, or writing books about an entire population of people in a new unknown exotic place. Well, a few pretty well-educated people just did that, and they weren't able to completely finish the colorization of the drawings because, well, it's the same story as with yeast and toilet paper in the beginning of the panoramic. And it was especially hard for them because it happened 500 years ago in Mexico while they were quarantining themselves because of the smallpox paradigmatic. You might actually wonder what that has to do with the title of this video. Well, I'll let you wonder a little bit more. So, Bernardino de Sahagún, who was a Franciscan friar, also missionary priest and ethnographer, he with a bunch of other peeps, he went to New Spain, aka regular Mexico, and he was like, hey guys, we have this new religion, we have Virgin Mary and Jesus and water turning into red wine, which is like its own questionable thing, but not gonna lie, they got me with the wine part. So he quickly became familiar with the Nahuatl language, which is like kind of the same as the Aztec language. Therefore, he wrote I need my notes. He wrote the Florentine Codex, the general history of the things of New Spain with all the Nahuatl language knowledge. So we arrived at avocados. As the avocado advertisement states so many times, they come from Mexico. Avocados from Mexico! And the Florentine Codex serves as evidence for 3 separate domestications of the avocado tree, and these varieties are the Avocado, and according to the Codex,
Avocado. The leaves, the foliage of the avocado tree are brown. Its fruit is black, dark, it shines. Within, it is herb green. Its base is thin, the top rounded, round. It is oily, it has moisture, it has a center.
Well, that might actually refer to the seed, but just for fun's sake, most things have a center, except a donut, and well, a mug from a topographic viewpoint. This should be the Persa americana variety Dreamifolia. Then there is the Tlacacolawacatl.
Tlacacolawacatl. It is thick, large, big.
I mean, do I have to say more to convince you about this variety? But
nursing mothers do not eat it. It physics their children.
This should be the Americana variety. Then the last variety in the Florentine Codex is the Quilawacatl.
Kilawacatl. It is green, small, choice, good. The avocado of noble men.
So this is for the fancy people, and this should be the Guatemalensis variety. Now, you might have caught on that I didn't say avocado but avocado, or maybe not because I have an accent, whatever. So the actual word avocado was first borrowed into Spanish, then into English, then into all the other languages. But I wouldn't talk about that if there was no fun stuff about the etymology. The original Nahuatl word doesn't only mean a fruit of a tree, but let's say fruit of man also. And while the skin of the avocado is a pretty big giveaway, but I'm not here to tell you about the 500-year-old D-joke. Unless. Anyways, the Nahuatl people like their soupy soups, and the avocado didn't escape its fate being turned into one, and they called it the guacamole. So the phrase holy moly testicle soup has a really nice ring to it, doesn't it? I told you I was serious about the D-joke. So Spanish people were like, well, this new word avocado is really close. So the Spanish people were like, oh, this avocado, this new word is really close to the word we already have, advocate, so why don't we just confuse the two? And that's how the Spanish word for avocados, we have a nationwide testing because of the paramedic. and that's how the Spanish word for lawyers is the same as the word for avocados, meaning all lawyers are there. So the avocado tree first began its run as a semi-domesticated dooryard tree 10k years ago, but even though it became a company for humans so long ago, it is very new commercially because we grew it only for like 100 years. Even though we have the first info about it from the Aztecs, the first who were domesticating it were the Mayans. Mayans were the original domesticators because they had these specialized gardens where they planted the trees, shrubs and plants out of their natural range, and this was their whole shtick. Actually, there's not a ton of info about the first steps of the avocado. We only have this thing that we have these three varieties: the Mexican, the Guatemalan and the West Indian, but most recently scientists spilled the tea that the West Indian might be actually coming from the Yucatan Peninsula and the Caribbean area. Now, the Americans were like, okay guys, we need this too. So after a time, hybridizing came into the picture, and first they were selecting these more cold-tolerant species for obvious reasons, but then a lot of other characteristics came into the picture, like fruit maturity time, skin thickness with a double C, salinity tolerance and things like that, and honestly so many things that it's unbelievable. And when I researched the avocados at the end, I felt like I could single-handedly start my own avocado orchard in my own garden with success, even though I have harsh winters. Now let's talk about a few firsts. Like, firsts are important. I'm not saying they are good, but they are important, right? So the first grow clean was back in 1856 by Dr. Thomas J. White in St. Gabriel Valley. I'm telling you all this information like it's so important to detail the first avocado in the US, but like for what? What else I would say? It was a guy from a time, from a place. That sounds stupid. That just sounds like my brain before every history exam I took. And to add insult to injury, there is no record after the claim. So the next first, that just sounds like a bad toddler costume competition. Like, don't worry Barbara, your kid's gonna win. So the next first is the first avocado tree to fruit. Useless info is coming again, 3 to 1. This happened in 1870 by Judge R.B. Ward in Santa Barbara. And after this, not only people started sending back more and more avocado seeds to the US, but the US trees started to produce more and more seeds. That's how the avocado seed supply perpetually accelerated itself. But there's a problem. Avocados are not true to seed. Well, put a pin in that. This means avocado seedlings needed to be grafted, which is hard because you live like 100 years ago and everybody does it differently, and most of these everybody's does it wrong, so it doesn't work as it's supposed to. But in 1905, the first successful grafting was done by C.P. Taft, and soon the first patented variety emerges too, which is the Hass variety. So this is a very moss-grower thing, but let's talk about that pin a minute before. So avocado trees are not true to seed. That is because they are usually not self-pollinated while being self-fertile. Let's put another pin in that. This video is slowly but surely turning into a sewing tutorial. The seed will not yield the same exact type of fruit as the mother plant and the mother tree. Now, if you take a Hass avocado seed and you do the very trendy thing, you put it in water, you grow a new avocado tree, well, the resulting plant will not be Hass. It will be anything but a Hass, actually. Therefore, if you want to grow a new Hass avocado tree, you need to actually take a branch from a Hass avocado and kind of wedge it into your own plant, and that is basically what grafting is. That's how growers ensure they will get the yummy fruit of the Hass avocado, which will be growing on their trees and not a random avocado seed. And these are called cloner tops. Now, just to make things more confusing, cloner tops will not be paired with original bottoms. Well, this video is at this point is a dating app also. The bottoms are cloned too, and these are called cloner rootstocks. You take an avocado seed, you grow it out, and these avocado seeds are grafted also, and they are grown in the dark for a hot second, so they will get, well, pretty much leggy. Then these avocado seedlings are cut and treated with rooting hormone, so they will form their own roots. Now, these are grown and then they are grafted with these clonal tops. And all this is done so you can combine two things: the yummy fruit, the tree structure and the season lengths and stuff like that from the top, and the resistance to disease and resistance to drought and things like that from the bottom. With all this grafting frenzy, there was an explosion of new varieties, and if you think we're done with this must grower thing, well, let me tell you one more thing, because that's how it goes on this channel. Sometimes the grafted branch can mutate, and this is how you can get new strains of a variety. What is that? What is that? This is how new strains of varieties pop up. And just to bring closer to you this mutation thing, for example, the navel orange sprung to existence just like that. We all know the navel orange, it's pretty disgusting. I thought it's just a weird orange, like a random mutation of the orange tree, and they are just like using it because it's a orange, it's like, it's okay. But it turns out it's not the case. Someone really looked at that disgusting mutated oranges on the orange tree and said, well, let's keep it. Talking about avocado varieties, well, it's the same thing as listing all the discovered orchid species on Earth today. Basically, it's an endless list going on forever if you take into consideration that all of it is the same fruit and very little things could change between variety to variety. And then you realize it's a task no one wants to conquer. Like, there can be two different varieties with the same exact color and texture of skin, same exact taste, same exact flesh oiliness, same everything, and a 1 week difference between harvesting season is enough to make it into a new variety. There are 10k named existing varieties, but only 90 of them are grown commercially these days, and well, that's still a lot if you ask me, but especially when I go grocery shopping and all I see is Haas. But like, attention, there are new avocados on the horizon. 3 new varieties are dropping soon, and these are the UCR 1, 2 and 3. They are yet to be named, and I like to imagine they will get their own iPhone style commercial listing their best features, like the brand new UCR 1 avocado with super smooth Gorilla Glass skin, the super fast UCR 2 featuring the new immersive smooth green flash experience, and the UCR 3 with perfect ripeness recognition, coming soon. Pre-order now. Just to bring your brains back into more complex thought processes, I will once more mention avocados being not true to seed. Basically, the chance for them being a random yummy avocado seed is 1 in 10k. Well, that's not a lot, to be honest. Just imagine you plant a random avocado seed, you care for it, you water it, you put all that care and effort into it, you wait for years for it to grow a fruit for you, then you taste it and there is a pretty big chance it will taste like shit. Let's start with our legends, statements and stars. The first avocado grown big scale was the Fuerte. Like, don't worry, this video is definitely not me listing all the avocado varieties and their best features. Fuerte walked so Haas can run. The reign of this variety started around the 20s, and well, people back then really thought avocados must have green skin because it was like considered to be the good avocado, the green skinned avocado, and everything different than that was considered like disgusting and ugly and ugh. The Fuerte had great characteristics, that's why it emerged from all the other varieties and making it the king of all. Also, it didn't have too much competition. Well, it's kind of biennial, meaning it will have a lot of fruit one year, the next year it will have less fruit or even zero fruit, which is pretty bad. Also, it eats up space in orchards because of the tree structure. Well, the next one is the Haas avocado, the queen of our era. Haas queen. Even though it was patented in 1935 by California postal carrier Rudolf Haas, it was not popular right away. Well, originally he had 3 avocados. That was back in the 20s. The seeds were from lion, and well, Rudolf of course wanted to have the yummy fruits, so he grafted these trees. But like, how are you gonna graft when there is not a lot of grafting YouTube tutorials? So the graft fails not even once, but he was like, nah, okay, I let it grow. He won the avocado lottery, actually. Well, he first didn't thought he won, but like his daughter did. Because when finally this avocado grew fruit, his daughter actually really liked the fruit and convinced his dad not to cut it out. And actually this small thing led to us not finding anything else in shopping centers but the Hass avocado. Well, actually that original tree died in our century, I think in 2002, and there is a plaque where the original tree stood, which is really cool in my opinion. Now, the Hass avocado has, well, somewhat better qualities than the Fuerte, and especially if you're an avocado orchard owner and you want to sell those testicle fruits. So the Hass avocado is smaller than the Fuerte, which means that you can sell them for not that much less money, which means higher income. Also, it has fruit every year, not every second year like the Fuerte does. The flesh is also creamier, it has a thicker, pebblier skin, making it ship better, and also the season is longer. But there's one more thing, one more tiny little thing. The skin is black, not really green. Actually, it has the color of rotting. It's disgusting. What you gonna do? Trends come and go, and that is exactly what happened to the only green avocados are cool trend. So the people in the 70s, like, they really started to change their opinions about avocados. The Hass actually started to boom, taking its first steps in the 40s. Being an adult by the 70s, I think the Hass avocado is really a boomer. And yet avocados are so millennial. Like, who wants to own a house when you can buy an avocado toast? So the bacon and the Zutano varieties are used rather as pollinators and not pollinators, pollinizers, because they are bee types. See? That's the other pin. Let's pick that up later. They were patented in the 30s and in the 40s, but they gained their popularity due to their bee-typeness. Other popular varieties are like the Reed, Pinkerton, Gwen, Witzel, Esther, Lamphass, Surprise, Gem, Harvest, and a lot more. Now, Gwen is definitely worth mentioning because it was designed to be the new Hass, the new ruler, because it has all the qualities of the Hass. It ships better than Fuerte, it's smaller and stuff. And it has green skin, because the people have spoken. They want a green-skinned avocado, they get a green-skinned avocado. Too bad the green-skinned trend was flushed down the toilets, so the Gwen is not popular, and the Hass is. Another variety which I really like is the Hyalea Red, which was discovered by a seedling hunter. It has this red skin, which is really fun to see, a red-skinned avocado in the sea of mainly black and green-skinned avocados. And it was discovered by a seedling hunter, which doesn't only sound like a cool job, it is actually a cool job to have, and also you get all the bragging rights with it. And this kind found this variety in the neighbor's garden. He took a stem, he grafted it, he grew his own avocado tree, and boom, a new variety, Hyalea Red from Hyalea. So cool. I find it funny how the fat burning craze of the 80s really put a dent on the avocado sales. You know, avocados are oily, and the fat burners didn't want to have any of that because they didn't really make a difference between good fats and bad fats, like healthy and unhealthy fats. And if it's fat, it has no place on our plate, they said, I imagine. So they really had to make avocado commercials.
This body needs good nutrition, including vitamins A, B1, C, E, potassium, niacin, iron. And this body gets them all in California avocados for just 153 calories in a luscious half shell. And here's a tip. Ripen them like this, 2 or 3 at a time, as avocados ripen better together. Would this body lie to you?
You know what's more funny? Modern day avocado commercials made by kids.
What's wrong? I keep dropping my keys. Well, you won't have to drop your keys anymore with this new avocado keyring.
Introducing the new and improved avocado keyring.
Will it last me throughout the year? Yes, it's very strong, flexible, and durable. How much does it cost?
Only $5.
For more information, call 999-999-9998.
There is another variety, well, let's say variety, it's not a real variety, it's called the cocktail avocado. And they have other names, and all of them are really cute. They are called avocaditos, baby avocados, or cukes. Like, I'm done. Cukes is the cutest name. These aren't actually a different variety, and most commonly you can find cukes on Fuerte and Mexicola avocado trees. Cukes will appear on these regular varieties when a flower is not completely pollinated, which will result in an avocado without a seed and also a smaller size. Most commonly home growers get these varieties because cross-pollination with other trees actually is working against the production of these cukes. That's why it's so hard to actually find them and get them, and that's why you cannot find them in like shops. I know I said cukes so many times it doesn't sound like a word anymore, but I will grab every opportunity to say it because it's so fun. So cukes are cute, and also they look like cucumbers. Hass is definitely leading now, and the industry is kind of based on this one single variety, which is dangerous. Another fruit industry which was based on one single variety is the bananas. And have I told you about the Fusarium Panic from a few years ago amongst orchid YouTubers? Or the real Fusarium disaster, aka Panama disease? Well, strap in. Fusarium wilt is a disease caused by a fungus, Fusarium oxysporum. Now, Fusarium might sound really frightening to those who actually know a thing or two about the Panama disease and the banana disease and how the world actually ran out of bananas a little bit. But in actuality, there is a bad guy Fusarium. These are pathogens, which is something that causes disease, and there is the fun guy Fusarium. Get it? Fun guy. Anyways, the good guy Fusarium is a Fusarium species which actually helps in seed germination, also in composting organic stuff. Now, the most common pathogen Fusarium is called the Fusarium oxysporum, which actually has 70-something these subspecies, and these subspecies have a really cool villain name. They are called Forma specialis, like I want to be a Forma specialis too. For example, there is the Forma specialis cattleya, which affects Camellia orchids, and there is the Forma specialis cubans, which is the Panama disease. Now, bananas are basically grown like any other fruit. There is often a single variety which is like leading the market because of its good qualities, as we've seen that with Hass avocado. Up to the 50s, the Big Mike bananas were the leading variety. It was basically emerging from all the other varieties because of it being better than everyone else. This variety didn't have very good resilience against the Fusarium, and once Fusarium became a permanent resident in Big Mike's home, there was no turning back, and Fusarium is still living rent-free on these banana plantations. This caused a huge damage to the banana industry, so growers were forced to look into other more resilient varieties. One of them is the Cavendish banana, which is leading the market right now. And well, guess what? Fusarium came back and it's threatening these banana plantations again and stuff like that. So it only takes one specific virus, one specific disease, and once a plant is infected, it can travel really easily species-wide. So the year 2016 was marked by Fusarium too, at least for some. Fusarium made its runs on YouTube because of orchid YouTubers. The first one to mention Fusarium was Bumblebee's Orchids in April of that year. The next one to catch on was Miracle Orchids in May, followed by Miss Orchid Girl in June. And not me jumping on the bandwagon and not me being extra reading papers about the topic. Now, actually a combination of more things happened here. Miss Orchid Girl made a few videos about the topic. One of them was titled I Might Lose My Orchid Collection, while she being a very influential orchid YouTuber of the time. Also, other people started making videos on the topic like Roger's Orchids, Orchidea, My Orchid Adventures, myself. Quick views matter, especially if your channel is monetized. Also, Fusarium completely shuts your orchids down, your orchids slow down, wilts away, and that can really easily travel from orchid to orchid in one collection. And the number one method to check if your orchid has Fusarium or not is to cut it in half to see if there is a purple ring indicating if your orchid is infected or not. So understandably, orchid growers went fully witch trials with their orchid collections, dissecting orchids left and right by autumn of 2016. It was a real panic. Then gardening influenza, well, she tried to calm the raging sea with a video, which actually made me really sad. Like finally we have our first drama and we instantly pour water on the fire. Like, what's that about? I'm just kidding. So Rachel actually tried to ease up the panicked crowd, and one commenter was like,
I am torn. I was enjoying your garden, but this video is mean, and attacking others for the way they provide information is just wrong. In addition, as a viewer, I feel attacked by this video as well, since I viewed those videos about the fungus and did so with the intent of educating myself on the problem and learn from the hard times others were going through with it. Yes, it was like wildfire for a month. Several big channels were all doing videos on it at the same time. You act like it was a planned event to upset the orchid community. But the fact is, one person introduced a problem they had happening that turned out to be affecting several large collections. They all wanted to share the issue so that maybe someone else could avoid it happening to them. But if you had got off that horse before you got so high up and made a point of showing support for your fellow growers and choosing not to do a video about the issue, or even doing a feel-good, it doesn't happen to everyone, and show compassion for the people trying to cope with losing large portions of their collections about this disease. I'm sorry you have such a dark part in your heart, and I'm sorry you now have one less follower. But I cannot respect someone who would attack their own community in this way and make those who do want to learn feel like watching was a bad thing. That was dramatic.
I often think about that comment. It makes me smile. Like, after the panic started to fade away, there were less and less videos made about these infected orchids. After a time, only Miracle Orchids became the only one consistently milking Fusarium, like Gathered Coin says. Well, after some unnecessary panicking funsies, let's bring back that Pina was mentioning so much. Flowering is a topic with a lot of things to consider in it. If you want to grow your own avocado fruit, let's start with the easy stuff. Flowers can have male and female parts. The male parts are called the stamen and the female parts are called the pistil. If the pistil receives the pollen, the plant can grow a fruit and a seed. Some plant flowers have male and female parts on the same flower. These are called perfect flowers, and I also like to point out that the Wikipedia page calls them bisexual flowers, so what an ally. Other plants are different, and the female and the male parts are on separate flowers, and sometimes these can be on the same plant, sometimes these can be on separate plants. This just depends on the plant itself. I think that's enough about basic plant morphology, and let's talk about avocados. Avocados wanted to be different. They have both male and female parts on the same flowers, but avocado flowers open twice. First they open as females, then they open as males. And if that's not interesting enough for you, let me tell you there is more. There are two types of avocado trees. There are the A types, and the flowers on this type opens as female in the morning, then they close up by the afternoon, they remain closed in the evening and in the next day all morning, and they open up in the second day afternoon as males. The other type is called the B-type avocado, and this B-type actually turned things around. The B-type avocados open up as females in the afternoon, they close up by evening, and they open up as males by the next morning. So they turned around this whole thing. Now, isn't this so fun? Actually, avocados are capable of self-pollination. All plants and all living creatures like their diversity of their genetic pool, and this is the path avocados choose for the sake of diversity. By expressing different parts at different times, the tree prevents self-pollinations and encourages cross-pollination, and also it increases genetic diversity and lowers susceptibility to disease. Avocados are not about that Panama disease life. Imagine that you have an avocado orchard and all of them are, for example, A types. You cannot ensure good pollination because of all your plants are opening at the same time and the female and the male parts are dangling in the air in separate time slots. Now that's the reason avocado owners usually grow more varieties, and not only one. Of course, Hass is leading the market and the industry, but that doesn't mean that occasionally these other varieties like Zutano or something pop up in these shops. And well, that's why I said the bacon and the Zutano are pollinators. Even the flowering time can differ from variety to variety, even if they are the same type. So it's good to have a collection that can ensure the best pollination throughout the flowering period by owning a good amount of varieties. Usually when you buy an avocado tree, the seller provides all the information that you might need when it's flowering and if it's A type or B type. Just for a quick heads up, here's a quick list of A and B type avocados. A types avocados are, for example, the Hass, the Catalin, the Choquette, Simons, the Donny, and the B types are the Fuerte, Bacon, Monroe, Pollock, but like I'm not gonna bore you with this. So one of the things is that the flowering of the avocado is really extremely inefficient. Avocado trees literally produce millions and millions of tiny flowers, and from those tiny yellowish greenish flowers you get only a few hundred viable seeds, which is a pretty low amount. Also, you can never be 100% sure about the characteristics of your tree. For example, because the environment has a big say how the tree will grow in your environment and also how the fruit will taste in your environment. For example, the Fuerte fruit can be really dependent on the environment, and it can taste pretty different in different environments. Also, having A and B type avocados in your orchard will only increase your production by 5 to 20%, which is not a lot, but for big scale growers it's still worth it. The morning and the afternoon flowering isn't totally perfect, so sometimes you can get a window while both male and female flowers are open at the same time, and this actually provides a good opportunity for home growers or only one type of avocado owners to pollinate their trees. Also, something really surprising to me, avocados are not considered vegan by all vegans, because in some places like California there aren't enough honeybees and other pollinators to pollinate the avocado orchard, so they bring in the migratory beekeepers who are basically beekeepers on a road trip offering their bees to pollinate these avocado orchards and other different veggie patches. This is because of the lack of natural wild pollinators. So as I said in the intro, I fully went into gardening mode when the paragraphic lockdowns started in my country, and my situation was weird because while I was maintaining my jobs, I found myself at home with not a lot of home officing to do. I'm home all day, all night, there's spring, the weather is warmer every week, the sun is shining, that there's no way I'm not gonna spend my time outside. And I already have a green thumb, like why not make it greener, right? So my escape from the worldwide patriotic became gardening, and weirdly enough, free plants started to pop up in my area. I found like 10 yuccas near my town just thrown out. Also, by a grave cleanup, I found a lot of Bergenia cuttings. So I tried a lot of things outside I've never tried before, like propagating yuccas and Bergenias. I started annuals from seed. I started making a whole new flower bed. I was sowing grass. I was cleaning and reimagining a pond, and the list goes on. I already purchased some annual seeds this year. Also, like Laura from Garden Answer really inspired me to grow some digitalis. And also, I just found another huge yucca near my town and a huge oleander. Like, what's that about? But I wasn't the only one escaping the parabolic and the abundance of lockdowns by gardening. Not only history and demand showed the gardening search in spring, I went to one of my favorite sites, Google Trends, and I searched for gardening. And in the past 5 years, 2020 was the most like, let's say, gardening-y, and even on like Instagram I saw people, my friends, who started to grow plants and food for themselves in the lockdown. So I don't think I have to convince you anymore about the plant craze as a stress relief in 2020. Well, stress relief it was in previous years also. Gardening has a mood-lifting, meditation-y, relaxing effect on people, and it was also advertised and encouraged by the government in like World War years and stuff, because people and countries this way can become more independent with less food trading between countries. Growing your own food makes a huge difference, and immense amounts of parks and gardens and backyards and fields were turned into like cabbage patches. But what about those who live in a flat? Fortunately, there is another very trendy thing in fashion right now, and that is houseplants. Shameless self-promo, I made a video about the rise of houseplant culture. So the thing is, keeping houseplants started back in the day when the Greek and the Romans and then like Egyptians and Indian people were like already taking plants from the wild, keeping them inside in pots, and this led more and more plants popping up in households. And suddenly we're in 2021 and every third household is a mini collection of tropical houseplants. Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, TikTok is basically overflowing with plant accounts too, and those who couldn't go outside to plant some annuals and stuff, well, they did the same thing inside, in pots, planting houseplants, buying houseplants, planting veggies. And this promoted more and more online content to be made about the care for plants and the experience of growing plants and other plant-related stuff. Millennials have their adult money now, and that means one thing: they can buy anything they want. But millennials being millennials with their side-parted hair, skinny jeans, tears of joy emoji usage, they didn't buy a home, they bought avocados instead. So three things are being combined here. First, people finding new hobbies like writing a whole codex about a group of people or gardening. Second, millennials having their freedom to buy anything they want without asking their mom first. And third, avocados being the superfood of modern days. Avocado being the superfood it is, millennials were trying to incorporate it into their diets as often as their finances allowed. More and more avocado culinary experiences popped up online, starting with the basic avocado toast. Just mash the avocado on top of your toast and you're ready to go, very easy. For some aesthetic vibes, you can also slice it and put the slices on the toast. Put some everything but bagel seasoning on it, chili flakes or lemon juice, and you have this tense across the board, expensive looking millennial breakfast. Then other things popped up like avocado smoothies, avocado puddings, and avocado fries. Like, I'm not sure what happened to guacamole, but for sure it remains reserved for the Super Bowl. When you eat so many avocados, you start to realize you just always throw out the seed. It's pretty big, there's no way around it. And while you're misting already your variegated monstera every day, you're watering your 38 tropical houseplants every week and having a mediocre plant haul shipped right to you as we talk. Why not add another houseplant experiment to your collection, and why not use the avocado seed, and why not grow your own avocado in your own home? You just turn around and suddenly you have 11 avocado seedlings growing in your home in different stages. 5 of them are dying because you cut them in half, prompted by a weird TikTok video. If you Google avocados, or if you're more a visual type and search avocados on YouTube, there is an unbelievably big backlog of avocado information and Nikocado from all around the world, eagerly waiting for you so you can know how to grow your own avocado fruit in California, how to make the Kardashian post-workout avocado pudding, or who is the guy who patented the highly read avocado variety. Basically, there's 2 very popular avocado topics which you can find online, and these are the most click-worthy. One of them is how to grow an avocado from a seed in your home, and the other one is how to make a random avocado recipe. But it's enough for a topic to pop up on one social media platform, others will follow, like TikTok. While TikTok is something I genuinely love, I could spend hours watching my perfectly tweaked algorithm liking every second video, then showing it to my bestie, laughing once more but with company. But if you decide to send me a freaking TikTok video link, that feels like Hamburg. I will rather ghost you for 2 weeks than watching a 10-second clip on TikTok, which I either already saw and I liked it because it's funny, or I don't want to see it because it's not funny. Like, I'm not telling you that if for some weird reason you don't have TikTok, download it right now, otherwise we cannot be friends, but that's exactly what I'm telling you, even though TikTok has many problematic things going on. A 5-part docuseries wouldn't be enough to talk about all the weird and shady soup talks, like kids dancing and lip-syncing to racist comedy songs, or the recent Instagram ban on content farming TikTok videos which were originally taken from Instagram and YouTube, or adult content creators making questionable videos on a platform targeted to kids. There's a lot to discuss, but as Sarah Z once said, engaging with things critically doesn't have to mean beating yourself up for liking things with problems, but it does mean not sweeping those problems under the rug and instead directly acknowledging them and thinking about how they impacted these works of content. I love this sentence so much. So naturally, growing an avocado seed was a video topic on TikTok too. There is a lot of avocado growing videos, but you don't even have to search for it and you will find a TikTok video about it. But TikTok being TikTok, if you search for avocados, you will find the weirdest things, like for example the advertisement from avocados from Mexico sound used in various comedy videos of a person showing up to another person with increasingly more and more avocados with them, while the other person is not sure what to do, usually leading to them freaking out and running out of the frame. Like it's a trend on TikTok, it won't be funny. Growing an avocado on TikTok is a great idea because it's a foolproof content and people will watch it no matter what because they are interested in it for reasons we already discussed. Also, you can act out starting out to grow an avocado by doing questionable tutorial videos and TikToks. Very poor acting was always a trend on TikTok, why not make it with avocado seeds too? The most common content creator way to grow avocados is the following. Usually TikTok creators start with buying an avocado, which is self-explanatory, and then right away when you're supposed to cut it, problems arise. Well, I shouldn't say problems, more like mini drama. I mean, if you're gonna eat the avocado, you just cut it up into the shape or form you want to eat it and that's that. But when you buy an avocado just for the seed, the flesh is something you don't need, so all kinds of avocado cutting methods just sprung up on TikTok, leaving the comment section in a rage. There's this guy cutting up an avocado from side to side instead of the usual from the top, make it drop. That's a wet ass. Wrong channel. From the top to the bottom, so you get this classical half avocado look with the seed bulging from one half like a belly. Also, he says peep instead of pit, and well, I can get behind the rage about that.
Once you've got everything, put your pip in the damn paper towel.
Anyways, then in some cases you have to create some kind of really extremely humid environment for the seed to put in. For example, like a wet towel in a Ziploc bag for weeks, and when there's a root emerging, you can transfer it into water. But some content creators just leave out that whole extra humid environment step and put the avocado straight into water. If your vase or container you put the seed in is bigger, if the neck is bigger than the avocado seed, you need to stab your avocados from 3 sides with a toothpick. Just put that avocado seed on the surface of the water and the waiting game is on. Most probably it will grow. After a time, if you're bored of changing the water for your avocado twig, you can put it up into a regular pot, and that's it. Your avocado seedling just leveled up into a full-on houseplant. This is a very easy win content. You can edit it into a very quick progression video with like information between the steps. Now, that's certainly not the only way to grow an avocado from seed. Crowdsourcing some seed sowing logic will show you that an avocado seed will grow in many different ways. And the easiest way, in my opinion, is that you can cut all the extra steps from these TikTok videos. You just put the seed right away into the soil, water it regularly, and wait. By doing so, you get two things. The first one is that you spare yourself from doing all that extra step and extra stuff for your avocado, and you also don't shock the root system when you're transplanting it from water to soil. By putting a seed into soil is definitely not something you can act out with crazy TikTok dances, so there's that. If you want to be still a bit extra, you can put a humidity dome above the pot so you can increase the humidity and also increase the chance of the avocado seed putting out some shoots. I watched a YouTube video about a guy who was comparing these two methods, and he used a low sample size of 4 avocados, that's true, but the results showed that by planting the seed right away into soil will result in a stronger, bigger plant, because the seedling doesn't have to focus its energy into the environmental change of converting it from water to soil. The social media presence of avocados might be something that can bring some bad influence in some ways. With being on the internet comes a bunch of hoaxes and false information that is passed around like it's set in stone true. One of them is cutting avocados in half. Then there's the question of half of these people who started to grow their own avocado trees, is there gonna be a fruit on that plant or not? Well, the easiest and the most common answer you get from these videos, tutorials and comment sections is a simple no. However, if you're actively paying attention to this video and not just passively listening to it, you might say that it might be possible to grow your own avocado. So first you need an avocado plant which is well cared for. That is clearly doable, especially if you live in the right climate. There are some avocado varieties that are very cold tolerant, especially if you provide some protection in the winter time, in the cooler months. Now you might want to think about size also, so sure, there are some dwarf varieties which doesn't have to be like too mature and too big to bear fruit, so we're like already halfway there. One of these varieties that is still available to us in the case of these environmental factors is the Lila variety, relatively cold hardy and semi-dwarf tree. Well, here comes the problem, the pollinations. Luckily, the right conditions, like for example a bigger fluctuation in temperatures in the early cooler months, in like late winter, early spring, in the flowering season, will help your case, and you will able to find both male and female flowers at the same time on your plant. Now, you can either have a big trust in your pollinators being active so early in the season, or you can go around your plant with a brush and just pollinate your plant for yourself. And basically that's it. You're getting fruit from your avocado plant, but sure, you still need the right variety with the yummy fruit and not like a random avocado seed that you were growing for yourself and for your own enjoyment. With the social media presence of these plant content creators, these platforms became unimaginable without a lot of tutorials and plant tips. These more content farm type channels just churn out very short, very questionable plant hacks in quick succession without even talking or just a few words as a guidance, like thanks blue-eyed girl, thanks for helping me grow a bell pepper in a completely inefficient way. The more authentic creators, on the other hand, use every platform as it is intended to use, like very few tips about a specific topics on short-form content platforms and longer tutorial, or I'm gonna talk about every aspect of this topic on long-form content platforms like this exact video. To be able to compete on a oversaturated market, a successful way to actually stay relevant is to jumping on bandwagons, and no shame in that, I did that too. Now in the plant world, trends are not that frequent, therefore if a trend like growing avocados pops up, it will quickly snowball into every second creator doing it. These trends can be like an infamous houseplant like the variegated monstera, or a new method or a new product ensuring a new method like for example the biorb or a new trendy plant care tip like shaking your fiddle leaf fig. Actually, it amazes me how of all the things, shaking became the next thing added to the list of plant care. What an unlikely hack to make it into the upper echelon of plant hacks and care tips. I mean, I understand the premise, it's pretty logical if you think about it. Often seedlings require a fan blowing air around them, creating a constant air movement in the room, which will not only help to combat fungus and molds, but also it will make them more hardy, and then it makes it easier to transfer them into the outside real world. The same thing is happening with the fiddle fig and these other houseplant trees. By shaking their trunk, you mimic natural air movement around the trunk, and this results in a more resilient and sturdier houseplant trunk. But like, show me a person who will shake their plants every single day for minutes and minutes on end.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I would be sitting here if I talked about all the weird plant hacks emerging into trends, and well, I dip my toe, rather my whole foot, into like these crazy ideas and experiments and on my plants. I have to tell you, they're fun, why not? It just so happens one of these care tips is helping you to grow your own avocado from seeds. Well, I kind of buried the lead there before. When I first saw this hack, I believed everything for a hot sec, but then I realized I have a basic understanding of living on this planet, so I decided it's stupid. It amazes me how one single TikTok video was powerful enough to make hundreds and hundreds of people convinced they need to cut the stems of their avocado seedlings. The original TikTok video says,
"So like me in quarantine, you started growing an avocado seed and now it's about a foot tall and you don't know what to do with it next. I'm here to tell you, you gotta cut it. You gotta cut them. Did I stutter? I did not stutter. You gotta cut them. Watch me cut them. I know it's upsetting because you just grew this magnificent thing. But if you don't cut them, they're gonna grow shitty and weak and spindly, and you want them to grow big and strong and majestic, so you gotta cut them." Oh, I hated that.
I mean, it's kind of convincing for the untrained ear, but like normalize questioning things without making it passive aggressive. So also I love how the name of this sound is literally, "Please stop using this sound, doesn't apply to all plants." So this poor woman didn't realize she gonna make people cut all kinds of plants, and it's too late because half of the plant talk community is already shredding plants prompted by her video. The other half is freaking out in the comment section, and I'm just there lurking like, content for me. There is no further explanation in this video about the whole why or how. So everyone who does it by kind of winging it, like, yay, I can make this reaction video while I'm poorly acting out how scared and shocked I am because I'm cutting my plant which I grew for weeks while I'm not having a single idea what I'm doing. Like, okay, now the idea is to make the stem stronger or make the plant bushier. So a lot of TikTok avocado seedling growers claim to cut only the top inch or so because of the abundance of available buds left on the stem, so the seedlings can actually grow a new lead. But a lot of these TikTokers just cut the stem right in the middle, and sometimes this will prevent the seedling from growing a new lead because there's like no available buds left on the stem, therefore they cannot grow. I mean, I can get behind the idea, and usually it works with other plants too. You cut the lead, resulting in a more bushier plant. But like, proportions are a thing. Like, imagine gardeners running up and down their seedling rooms, cutting all their seedlings in half. Freshly grown avocado seedling is basically just a stick. Cutting it in half is more than overkill. Pruning it so early will either result in an ugly as hell bent trunk bending in the middle, which is weird, either in a multi-trunk avocado tree, which is kind of nice, but you cannot ensure that your plant will grow 2 new leads after the cutting. Now, if you let it grow taller, you might be able to control the size and the bushiness of your indoor avocado tree by pruning it, but you have to do the pruning at the right time. I would say cutting it to make the plant stronger and not like a tall, skinny legend like me. Cut it only in extreme scenarios like this.
They tried to put me on the cover of Vogue, but my legs were too long. Every day is leg day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh, what's that?
Hi, if you're seeing this, you're probably on avocado TikTok. You probably grew an avocado in quarantine. And you've probably heard my sound that's like, you gotta cut them. I need to provide a disclaimer for that because some of y'all are out here wildin' with your avocado chopping videos, okay? If your avocado plant looks like this and is huge and healthy and supporting itself with its stem, look how healthy that is, don't cut it in half. You hear me? Okay? Don't cut it in half. It doesn't need it. It's already healthy. That sound was specifically for avocados that are shitty and weak and spindly and can't hold themselves up properly and won't grow correctly. This is a healthy plant that doesn't need to be cut. If you do want to cut it, you want it to branch and it's already big and healthy, the only thing you do is you pinch off this tiny little bud right here. That's it. That is all. Stop cutting your healthy plants, okay?
But then again, mutating avocado seeds are definitely a thing. In some cases, the avocado seedling will not produce like regular leaves when growing the shoot from the seed, but rather these odd white mutated leaves which are halfway between flowers and leaves, and it's really ugly and it's disgusting in my opinion. So this mutation was common enough for the California Avocado Society to research it. First they thought it's caused by the avocado sunblotch variant, but then these field trials seemed to rule it out since they could not get consistent results from infected stock. The second theory, which seemed to be the case, is that these mutant avocado seedlings come from seeds that are collected prior to a certain stage of fruit maturity. Now, I've seen some seedlings just growing out of this mutant stage and continuing to put out regular leaves and like a regular avocado seedling, but it also seems like if you cut the top part away from the mutant stick, the avocado will continue to grow normally. Or you can just display your disgusting avocado on your dining table as a centerpiece and a conversation starter. So my advice is, think about the new trendiest plant hack you see on the internet before you start shredding your plants into non-existence. I also watched the avocado episode on Netflix series called Rotten, which inspired me to research and include this section about the incredibly named avocado mafia in Mexico. And as we already discussed history, I'm gonna sneak in a few infos here and there just to get a fuller picture. So understandably, Mexico was too powerful in avocado growing, but since the NAFTA agreement didn't allow Mexico to share their avocados with the US, at first it was all chill. But as the free trade agreement opened the borders, the only thing blocking a full-on avocado flood from Mexico was the sanitary requirements. Then slowly but surely the city of Michoacan emerged as the new avocado capital, and new money came into the picture, and with that criminal organizations didn't leave the opportunity to ransom off some money of these avocado orchard owners. Kidnapping avocado growers became the new normal, and cartels evolved like mamas after the last extinction event. I'm not gonna go like all into that because it's just type it into Netflix and watch it for yourself, or type in blood avocados on YouTube. There is one thing in the Netflix series I'd like to point out, and that is the animation of these criminal organizations. I don't know who was hired for these animations, but the more animations appears on that map, the more extra they are. Like, okay, I get it, you have a skillful animator on your hands. I'm not showing you those clips because I'm not about that copyright life. So if you want to watch a docu episode about the water loss in California, the avocado mafia in Mexico, or the avocado privilege in Chile, watch Rotten, but after like finishing this video. There's this weird subsection of the internet which treats avocados as a main character from a movie. And oh, how I love weird subsections of the internet. I mean, give me a good rabbit hole and I won't emerge from it for days. So for some reason, avocados are treated as only a few selected animals and plants were treated, and they became the next popular thing. Remember when for a short period of time owls became so popular, they actually popped up everywhere. I mean, I don't know about the rest of the world, but for a short period of time in my area, owls became so popular. There were owl shirts, owl keychains, owl stickers, owl phone cases everywhere I looked. Owls everywhere. So avocados being public domain, they can be marketed without copyright obstacles and now are being made into all kinds of products. And it's not as quick and dated as owls were, but definitely avocados can be successfully marketed to people.
We won't have to drop your keys anymore with this new avocado keyring.
Avocados are not like cats or dogs, like a common pet to have. Avocados are like a random fruit berry veggie, like a butternut squash. But I don't see any butternut squash stuffed animals. Honestly, my favorite is the avocado toast plush. It even has a smiley face. So there is a lot more to avocados than that. I didn't mention which avocado varieties are good for slicing and which are good for guacamole making. I didn't mention how a canyon plant avocado orchard will be an obstacle for the seasonally migrating elephants. Also, I didn't mention how my avocado research made my Google apps think I'm a crazy avocado guy who doesn't need to hear about a reasonable vaccine news from his own country, but rather how a canyon avocado orchard will be an obstacle for the seasonally migrating elephants. So yeah, that's my hot take on avocados, like it was a 10th season mediocre series on ABC or something. I started with the not so clear history from 10k years ago up to avocado orchards being visited by migratory beekeepers. Maybe you wanna pre-order the brand new avocados now coming with Bluetooth earbuds. Maybe you don't wanna eat them because they are fat and you're all about the fat burning from the 80s, but in fact they are healthy fat. Or you want to plant an avocado seeds because you're locked inside because of the parametric, hoping you'll get very disgusting white leaves on it. Either way, this video might help you, just don't shut up your plants with no reason at all.
Stop cutting your healthy plants, okay?
I'm done.